Hey everyone, we're going to be making this little wood burn logo for a fellow streamer by the name of Spammals, and I hope you guys stick around because I'm going to talk about a little bit about the channel. So first and foremost, you guys will notice that the channel has been pretty much all over the place. I've been trying to kind of figure out how and what I wanted to do, and I've also wanted to get more hands-on with my kind of creative way. So I decided to kind of take up wood burning again. Now I decided to do a couple of logos for a couple of streamers, one of which is a fellow streamer and content creator who I have grown to call a friend, and he's a fantastic person, great personality. He, in all reality, is just someone that I really super enjoy working with and playing alongside with and everything of that nature, and I really recommend you guys check him out. You can find his link in the description. He goes by the name of Spammals, and he has this really cute, adorable little logo, and I told myself, like, you know what, this is something that I would love to try to do right now. So right now you'll see I'm transferring the logo on carbon paper onto a piece of wood. This is I believe basswood, so it's really easy for burning purposes. So I took it upon myself to try something new, and the intention that I really want to try to go forward here is the content on the channel will showcase me doing stuff like this, where I do different art pieces on wood, at the same time overlapping and talking about just stuff, whether it's actual kind of back and forth. Like this, primarily right now what I want to try to do is just kind of give you an update of the channel. Whereas next time what's going to happen is I talk about a horror story or I read a horror story to you guys. I do still want to stick with the horror genre, but the concept is I'd like to really focus this channel on a creative point of view, at the same time kind of grow my expertise and my skills in wood burning, because I do find it very enjoyable, but at the same time also focus on a little bit of wood as well. Now I am using a brand new burner here. This is actually it's called a Persiva burner or something like that nature, but I can give some details on it later on. And all I'm doing is I'm just following the curvatures of where I did the tracing of his logo. And it's very easy. I will say basswood, when it comes to burning, is actually very easy. I'm not necessarily the happiest with how this piece came out. However, I really can't also be picky. I haven't done wood burning in a very long time. I just kind of started getting back into it and started getting back into how it's done and primarily the different type of techniques. So by no way, shape, or form am I a pro at this. I'm still very green. But apparently, whenever I show anyone my work, you know, I get a lot of good feedback on it. And the fact that people are saying that I'm still new at this and I'm pretty decent with how I do my burns, clean lines, you know, there's a lot of learning experience that I can definitely learn from online resources, but I feel that this is just something I enjoy doing, and I've been someone who's very creative. I sketched a lot during my early days. I'm an old man now, but I did do a lot of sketching. I'm not new to how, like, you know, you really should keep your hands still and different type of shading techniques and everything. Though I did do a mistake on this piece. The filling in portion, because there's a part of it the eyes are pretty much pure black. The problem that happened is that I kind of was using the head or an incorrect head to fill in the eyes, and it just kind of took a long time to do. I'm kind of double guessing why I should did it that way. I should have just taken it upon myself to just paint the eyes, not actually fill it in with the wood burner, but you'll see that later on. I'm not really happy with how that went, but again, it's a learning curve and you eventually will learn from your mistakes. So right now you'll see I am switching out. I decided to go to my other burner. This is a two-piece set that this actually has, and this burner is more intended for fill-in purposes, but again, this is where I was like, is this really the best head to use? So that's when I went digging, and I found another one which I think we'll use later. But in general, the concept I really want to focus on the channel is horror. I do like horror. I'm a big fan of horror. If I can really kind of find a way to integrate that with an artistic format, that would be kind of cool. So for example, I'd find if I have a bigger wood piece, I can do the face of it and talk about, you know, story about clowns type of thing. I'd love to kind of have that. I've always gotten really good feedback on how my voice is. A lot of people like kind of me reading stuff. Y'all weird. I don't know why, but I'll give you that. But this is just something that I wanted to test out first. So the first couple of videos, you will notice there won't be really a lot of horror content. It's more along the lines of me just trying to perfect my skills in wood burning, also get used to the new wood burner. This is the very first time I'm really using this new wood burner, and it's a wire burner, and it's so nice. In comparison, I did use the kind of old school ones that you can get at the standard art shop, and the thing about those is that they do get very hot. It gets hard to hold them, and it's just one of these things where they take a long time to heat up, and when you do stuff like this and you're kind of really trying to get the shading in on the part, it just cools down so fast. You're just like, oh god, this was a mistake. So it takes twice as long, whereas these ones, the wire ones, oh my god, they last and stay warm, and it's fantastic. Now at this point in time, I'm doing the shading of the logo, and I'm just not happy with how the shading is coming on. But the problem with wood burning is once you start doing something, you really can't go back. So I decided just to kind of progress with it, keep it going. It added a little bit of texture to it, which is kind of nice. So I really wasn't too upset about the texture to it. However, it just didn't look the best in my opinion. But overall, I think it still came out pretty decently, specifically for me doing this for the first time in a long time. And this is where I was starting to really trying to see if I could get a bit of a deeper color with the other head. And this is when it became a little bit of a, I shouldn't have done this. But again, it's the learning concept here, right? So super fun, super enjoyable. So Spammals, I've actually met him when I was in Sea of Thieves. I did a lot of Sea of Thieving, you know, back in my early days of Sea of Thieves. I really enjoyed the game. I met him there. We actually kind of got to know each other with, I believe, a charity event that we were doing for special effects, and never really played with him before. It was the first time I met him, and we click instantly because the guy is just a phenomenal human being. He is energetic. He is a sweetheart. He has great intentions regarding his streaming, his community, everything about him. In all reality, if you're ever looking for a streamer that is just well-hearted and just an awesome individual, I cannot recommend this man even more. Also, he does do horror games, and me and him have very similar tastes in horror games. We know when we played a bad one and we share it, and we know when we played a good one and we share it. And I feel we just kind of click very nicely, and this is why he was the first person that came to mind when I was like, you know what, I want to test this, I want to do something, I want to test my skills. And he had the most adorable little logo that I just needed to try to make. So this is why I decided to pick him for this first video. And like I said, if you guys want to check him out, I highly recommend it. He started off with doing Titanic videos, got pretty big doing that. He got into the pirating. Again, he's very big with horror elements and everything, and overall he's just a really high energy environment that I think a lot of people will super enjoy. By the way, at this time is when I'm realizing shading with this head may be a little bit of a problem, but it's one of these things where I'm looking around being like, oh, is there something else I could use? No, there's not. I'm cucked. I've cucked myself. The other thing too that I'm thinking is that the heat that I was using, I think it was about 350 Fahrenheit at this time. Possible that I could have gone a little bit hotter. I didn't really utilize the hottest head at this point, so I know later on I just go a little bit hotter if possible. But I started getting into a bit of a groove. I started really kind of filling in the eye a bit more, and I kind of saw the way it was, and I liked where it was going. But again, I found the filling in with the wood burner was just a little bit more of a hassle than anything. But I didn't mind where it was coming. Looking at there side by side, I was happy with how it was. You see me doing my hand thing. I do that when I kind of think, and I'm also scratching my legs, so, you know, look at those thigh shots. God damn. I mean, next time I'll try to hide that. But next we were going to move to our painting, and the painting is where I really got a little bit more creative with this. it allowed me to get a little bit more of the color scheme, try to see if I can really match much of the color. This is where I was like, okay, well, instead of what I did, why don't I just fill the eyes in black this way? However, I will admit, the wood burning on top of the paint, or the paint on top of the wood burn, kind of gave it a cool effect. It did give a nice little texture, so I didn't really mind that. And because it bored into the actual wood in itself, it allowed me to stay within lines a lot easier. So I was really using a very thin brush here. I was really trying to stay in those lines, really trying not to get out of them if possible. And you will notice too, there is a heavier dark outline on the logo. I didn't do the dark outline. I just kind of did the one simple line throughout. There was another thing that I could do. I could have done that dark outline. I just decided not to. So I decided to kind of give it a little bit more of a simplistic look. And I found the paint worked very well for this. And I think the black really came out well here. I didn't at all clean the brush. I pretty much used it throughout. It allowed me, because I wasn't using a lot of paint to begin with, it allowed me to really kind of continue this on. So finding the proper color, finding a color that worked as well. For example, the side here, I find the color I did with this just maybe it was a bit too dark. But again, I'm critiquing my own art. I always find this how it works. Whenever you're an artist or you do your own art, you always critique it the worst there is possible. This is what we do. I don't know why. It's just what it is. Everyone else says it's fantastic. The artist says, fuck it, I hate it. But this is when we started doing the sides, and I'm starting to see it kind of come together. I think the paint was a really good call. The one thing I do not have as of late, and I need to find something for this, and I probably won't do it for his, is a good coating or finish on the wood. I don't necessarily have a good clear coat. I haven't been able to find one. If anyone knows of a good clear coat for wood burning purposes, please let me know in the comments. I definitely would love to see that, or get a reference if possible. Secondly, if there's also a character, specifically more of a horror character, you would like me to do, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to actually start doing some more horror related characters. Like I said, a couple of the videos that's going to come out is going to be primarily logo work and just kind of trying to perfect, trying to get the skill up, trying to get used to the burner, and also get used to the paint as well, because I haven't done painting in a very long time, and it wasn't really my preferred artistic tool. However, it's something that I still enjoyed using regardless. But this is still something that I was like, okay, well, let's try to do this. Let's see if we can get the colors for his character. I know the body could have gone a little bit more lighter here, but I'm like, you know what, whatever. Let's just go with what we got. But overall, I think it came out nice. I don't even know if this little character has a name. Spammals, if you watch this, what is this character's name? Please tell people. I don't even know what this character's name is. But the paint really did bring it out. I found this was probably the best call to really bring this piece a little bit more out. And I get this is not a huge piece in any way. There's not a lot of high detail stuff. There's not a lot of that in this. It's a very simplistic one. This is why I wanted to start with a very simplistic one. And I found, like I said, I found his logo was just fantastic and phenomenal for it, and I was really happy that they let me do this. Also, let me make a video on it as well, so thank you Spammals again for letting me do this. And I want to hear from you guys as well. Is this a format you guys enjoy, with me just talking over the video itself? I know some people would be like, oh my god, please shut the fuck up, and I don't blame you. At this point, I'm really starting to see it kind of come together. Again, not necessarily the happiest with how it's coming together, but this is just me. This is just what I do. My cat is there on the side. You can see his head pop in and then leave. He does that. Thankfully, he didn't stay for too long. Now, I got to work on my area too. This wasn't necessarily my final area. This is just an area that I kind of set up in my living room. I was like, you know what? Let me just try this here and see how this works. And I found it worked pretty well for what I needed. But this is not necessarily my final area. I will find a better area to do this in and also to record in because I need to. So this was just kind of like a temporary, let's see how this is, and we'll go from here. So again, really trying to work the paint in, trying to kind of stay in between the lines. And the biggest thing, and the reason I like this brush, is that it's a very, very thin brush. It's very fine brush as well, so I don't have to go too heavy on the paint. I can be very, very fine-tuned with it, and allows me to give a very fine point so I can fill in the areas where I'm finding right now, because the wood will suck the paint into, so you will get little areas where you can see right there, it'll seep in. So thankfully I was able to kind of fill in some of those areas. And yes, I'm using a piece of paper for my paint. Like, I'm just gonna say it right now, you don't need to be crazy with what you use. Just a piece of paper works perfectly fine. So I have the white now. I did take another brush out. However, I did find out with this brush that I'm using right now, it's not as fine point. So I'm trying to fine point it right there, because it just didn't I found like the bristles in it was a little bit too split up, and I found it was touching different areas, adding different white strokes, and I'm like, oh, this is not helping me right now. But regardless, I think this came out very nicely. I was able to use it and control it, getting the eyes painted in a little bit here. And you guys can tell, this is not a big piece in any way. This is a very, very small piece. And looking at it right now, there are definitely things I'm seeing that I'm like, oh, you know, I could have done this way. I could have done this way. I could have added more shading in the back. I could have done a little bit more of this differently and that differently. But in the end, I think it still came out pretty nice. And I think overall, I hope Spammals does like it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, let me know in descriptions if this is something you enjoyed, if you like this type of format, because I'm always keen to try different things like this as well. And that's the little guy there. I think it came out very, very well, and I'm very happy to see how it came out. Little logo, I don't know the name of it, so Spammals, if you have a name for it, please let us know. And let me know if you have anything else you would like me to try to do in wood burning, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching, thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time for some more wood burning. Love you all very much, have a fantastic day, and from me to you, make sure to heal, please heal.